Hi, friends. It's Cheryl from Tutoring or Cheryl and the Tech Coach for Tutors. And on this bright, sunny morning, I'm talking to you from my office here in the United States. But I recently saw a tutor who's planning to take a trip to Ireland. And this was not in my group, but I was just happened to be looking, and somebody was asked a great question. I want to travel to Ireland to see my child. We're going to be there for about a week or so, and I have 10 to 15 appointments that I'd like to keep, or 10 to 15 students. I'm not sure about appointment wise. And can I tutor internationally with the use of my phone or my tablet? And I'm like, absolutely, you can. I responded to that by saying, when I went to Ireland, I chose not to tutor. First of all, I had just retired. Okay, I didn't give a lot of context. And I was like just starting my business. I didn't have that many students and I was ready for a break. So I just took the break and enjoyed the scenery. But one thing that I found about traveling internationally is it's not like here in the States, especially in Ireland. It can be very rural in some places. And so if you're in a really rural environment and you don't have good Wi Fi, it might be very difficult to tutor if you're relying on cell phone service, right? And many times we found that we had no cell phone service. So that was kind of the reason I said, well, maybe not, or maybe just go to, like, if you're in Dublin or something like that, where there's really good internet cafes, or you feel really confident, you can totally do that. But I chose to do a deep dive on ChatGPT and I wanted to share it with you. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen here and go into my ChatGPT, and I'm going to go up just a little bit. So the very first thing that I asked, it didn't quite give me what I wanted. So then I said, no, focus on international Wi-Fi plans. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. They were talking about market. No, I didn't worry about that, because my assumption is that you already know how you are tutoring your students. That you already have this plan of action where your students meet you on Zoom or Google Meet, or you use Messenger or some other platform, and you have your systems in place, but you're just going to show up and you're going to tutor. Okay, so this is what they kind of gave me, and hopefully this is helpful for all of us, because sometimes you might want to continue. Maybe you want to go on a cruise and you want to keep tutoring. Well, how's that going to work for you? Or maybe you want to travel over to a foreign country, and maybe you're staying in one spot. This might be easier to do than being in your vehicle and traveling and roaming. So this is what Chat GPT came up with. Okay, top international internet options. Okay, an eSIM or a global data plan. Okay, and then I'm just going to just kind of go through this. It talks about Holofly offers unlimited data or large data packages via eSIMs in dozens of countries. I've never heard of a Holofly, so that might be something that you want to look into. It looks like it's $69, $64.90 American dollars. Excuse me, $64.90 per month for American dollars. Not 100% sure about this carrier at all. It says the pros that you have no physical SIM card, so you don't have to add or remove a SIM card to your phone, and you can activate it in advance, and it works across countries if it's supported there. The cons are that you might have a device that supports eSIM, but you may still depend on local network quality. Unlimited sometimes has fair use limits. And that was kind of the thing that I pointed out to this person, that I have a Verizon plan. That's my personal cell phone plan for my husband and I, and a couple of our kids are still on our plan. And when we were traveling, we were doing a shared plan with international minutes. Well, the more I used my phone for any reason, whether it's to use it for maps or to take pictures or to send text messages, anytime I used it, I was using those minutes. So then I'm like, okay, I tried to keep it in airplane mode if I didn't actually need it, because it was always roaming and looking for a signal. Well, when you start to use your minutes and then you go into paid minutes, it's just going to slow you down. So is that really going to be reliable enough to tutor? That's kind of my point there. Okay, number two, portable hotspot. I've never heard of a MiFi device and global data plans. I'm learning right along with probably all of you. Again, we're just going to read it off the screen and talk about it. And you can dive deeper if this is something that you're like, oh, I had no clue. It says, for example, the article, 5 helpful mobile hotspot options for online teachers, list devices like the Skyroam Solus for over $130. countries, and that comes from Teach and Go. The pros are you can connect your laptop, tablet, and other devices, independence from accommodation Wi-Fi. So you don't have to use the Wi-Fi at the hotel. The cons are additional hardware costs or rental, battery and charging concerns, and may still rely on local mobile networks. Okay, again, we're going to be slowed down if we're not on that local network. Okay, the third option would be roaming and international add-ons via your home carrier, kind of like what I did. And so I got that travel pass. I had it active. It was an extra $100 per month, right around there. Yeah, when I took the trip, it said 5 GB of high-speed data, 250 minutes. Pretty sure I said that already. 1,000 cent text unlimited received, so you could only send up to 1,000, but you could receive as many as you wanted. It's good in 185 countries, and overages are 25 cents per minute, or 5 cents per text, or $20 per gigabyte. Okay, so you can plan, and then you can also see kind of the coverage there. Okay, and that one, the pink one, it looks like it says mobile. Let's make that larger. Mobile without borders, use your talk and text, simple global, unlimited 2 GB. And I'm not sure that that's Verizon or if that's a different carrier. Okay. All right. So on AT&T's International Day Pass, it's going to let you use your domestic plan in 100 countries for $10 a day. T-Mobile's Magenta Max plan covers 215 countries with limited high-speed roaming data per one review. And I don't know what that means, so you can look into that. And you can see right here who posted these. So like this is from TravelWise. This is from Hobby Habitatista. Never heard of them, but I'm glad that I found them. Okay. Pros, they're convenient. You get to keep your number. You have your same SIM card. There's no new setup, but the con is that they are kind of pricey. High-speed data may be limited. You could tether or hotspot, but it may be restricted. And your network priority may be lower while roaming. Okay, and that's kind of what I found. That when I was roaming, I had a hard time finding a network I could connect to. Now, this was the one that kind of caught my attention. And I do a little bit deeper dive because I asked a question about this. It says local SIM card, local mobile data country specific. So if you stay in one country for an extended period, local SIMs data plans are often very cost effective. And that comes from Goats on the Road. Pros, usually best value per gigabyte, good speeds in many countries. Cons, you'll have to change your SIM or set up a dual SIM. You may lose your home number. Setup activation may take time. Okay, so then they go on, and again, this is ChatGPT, giving your scenario, tutoring remotely using a laptop, tablet, meeting via Google Meet, likely moving between places. Primary options, go with the global eSIM or a portable hotspot. Option 1 or 2, so you have reliable, dedicated internet connections independent of the accommodation Wi-Fi. So you're not worried about the hotel Wi-Fi. Have your backup plan with a local SIM or local plan in each destination just in case your main connection fails. Ensure your hotspot and your laptop setup allows enough upload speed for your video. Test once you arrive at each new location, and that's there's a lot of unknowns here. Always check tethering and hotspot permissions for your plan. Have a plan B going to a cafe. Consider your time zone and your student locations. Do you want to be, up at 3 a.m. teaching your student when they're awake at 5 p.m.? I don't know. And then budget accordingly. So if you're booking many hours of tutoring, aim for the data plan that supports your consistent video. Okay, so then I came down here and I wanted more information about the SIM card. And so specifically, what is a local SIM card? So local SIM means that you buy a prepaid SIM card. Sometimes it's called an eSIM variant, as mentioned before, from a mobile provider in the country that you're visiting or shortly upon arrival, rather than relying on your home carrier's roaming plan. And it gives you a local mobile number and access to local mobile data, voice, and text rates. And when we traveled abroad, my brother-in-law did that. He got a different SIM card, so we just added a different phone number so that we could contact as we were traveling. So then for tutoring purposes, you're primarily interested in the data connection for video calls, screen sharing, hotspots, rather than many local text calls, but understanding the full SIM setup is still useful. So why a local SIM? can be a strong choice for online tutoring while traveling. And again, I'm quoting all of this from ChatGPT. So this just happened to be the answer to my question. And it says, here's why this would be better for you while tutoring internationally via a laptop or tablet. You're going to get better value and speed because local SIMs often give you more data at a much lower cost than the international roaming or global SIM plans. For example, regional data bundles in many countries, tourist SIMs with 5 to 15 gigabytes a plan can be $5 to $15 for 7 to 30 days. And that's in Southeast Asia. And that comes from Relive the Miracle. Now, reliable network performance, because you're connecting to a local provider rather than being on a roaming partner network, you're often on better priority and faster speeds. And that comes from Android Authority. And then one other, I'm not 100% sure what that one was. Okay, I don't want to click on it because I don't want to get off this page. So we'll just keep going. Hotspot and tethering potential. If the plan allows, you can tether your laptop or your tablet and use the SIMS data for your tutoring sessions, especially useful when accommodation Wi-Fi is weak. And many local SIMs or travel SIMs mention hotspot support. And that comes from rapteldatasim.com. Okay, and then independence from accommodations and Wi-Fi. As traveling tutor, you want consistent internet. Relying solely on a hotel, Airbnb Wi-Fi is risky. A local SIM gives you a backup. Okay, so then it says things to watch out for when you're using that. Unlocked and compatible devices. Your phone or tablet must be unlocked, not locked to a home carrier. And they have to support the frequency band, usually 4 to 5G, for the country of destination. And that comes from Federal Communications Commission. And then data plan size and upload speeds, such as your video like on Google Meet, needs both downloads and upload bandwidth. And some cheap SIMs may have a low upload or a throttle speed after their threshold. Tethering hotspot policy. Some local plans restrict or slow down your tethering and your hotspot use. So you're going to have to make sure that you can actually share that connection, maybe to your laptop or your tablet. Coverage and network quality. In rural or less connected areas, local networks may have weaker signals or slower speeds. Changing your SIMs or losing your home phone number. If you swap to a local SIM, you may lose access to your home number temporarily, which might matter if you need to text or have code verification. So a dual SIM phone helps. For example, I travel internationally, I buy a local SIM. I ran into an identity verification issue because I couldn't receive the code on the US phone number. And that came from Reddit. Short-term validity, and then it says top ups. Let's see what that means. Many tourists or local SIMs have expiry periods, expiration times, 7, 14, or 30 days, or limited data usage windows. So you need to plan for your tutoring schedule. Airport pricing and markups. Local SIMs bought at airports tend to be more expensive than buying in the town or online. So don't buy a SIM card at the airport because you might pay $27 and maybe it would only cost you $11. And somebody posted that to Reddit. And then country specific regulations. Some destinations may require ID registrations of your SIM or may have restrictions of eSIM activations. So always check local rules. So we want to make sure, these are the things we want to make sure, that you have an unlocked phone or tablet. Make sure that your device is unlocked and supports a local bandwidth. Data allowances, estimate how much data you're going to need. Video calls, screen sharing might use 1 to 2 gigabytes per hour depending on your quality. Upload and download speeds, ask or check reviews for upload speeds. If tutoring, you'll upload your video and screen share. Hotspot tethering, confirm that you can share the data with your tablet or your laptop. Validity and duration and renewal. How long is that SIM plan available for you? Is it like 30 days? And is it easy to top up if you stay longer? Oh, top up, yeah. Buy more. Got it. Coverage in your area. If you're in a remote place or moving around, check your network coverage and reliability. Dual SIM number access. If you still need your home phone number for verification or texts, consider using a dual SIM phone, one slot for a local SIM and one for your home phone number. Cost relative to roaming international plan. Compare the local SIM cost to what your home carrier would charge for roaming to ensure your value. Activate activation and setup. Some SIMs can be activated online or or via a QR code, especially in eSIM, and others require a local store visit. So there's going to be a time factor there. And then plan restrictions in the fine print, the fair use policies, speed throttling after a certain use, and whether video streaming or hotspots are deprioritized. And then it goes through step by step how to implement a local SIM for tutoring online for your workflow. So before you travel, you want to make sure your phone or tablet is unlocked. You want to research your local mobile providers in your destination. You want to identify a good plan with plenty of data and a hotspot support. And if possible, order or arrange the SIM in advance or select the eSIM variant. Upon arrival and your arrival day, you want to insert the local SIM or activate the eSIM. You want to set it as your data connection line. You may leave your home SIM activated for calls, texts if needed on a dual SIM device, but if you don't have a dual SIM device, you're going to run into a problem. Test your internet connection, do a quick Google Meet test call, screen share a document, and check your upload speed. Enable carry-out hotspot tethering setup if you'll use your laptop or tablet via your SIM's data. And then during your tutoring sessions, schedule your Google Meet sessions when your connection is stable, maybe outside of peak hours if the network is congested. Have a backup, either local Wi-Fi at your accommodation, a mobile hotspot, just in case the mobile network falters. Monitor your data usage. If you have limited data, track usage so that you don't get cut off mid-session. And consider lowering your video quality if the connection is marginal. And honestly, you could totally just turn off your camera and just screen share or just talk, depending on what you're teaching. And if you move destinations after a long stay, you can switch countries by buying a new local SIM or get a regional plan. Keep your tutoring schedule consistent so your students know your hours, time zones remain predictable. And some example numbers and real world anecdotes. One guide, Europe. This person's in Europe. They get a local SIM with 10 to 20 gigabytes of data, and it costs $10 to $25 per month. That came from Relive the Miracle. A Reddit user says local SIM cards are cheap, they work well, and they may even work better than your international plan. The tip at the airport again was don't buy the $27 card when you can get one for $11 later. And so you can totally go and do further searches for what happens if I, do the European route and so forth. So I think the thing is before you say, I'm going to go take this magical trip of a lifetime and I'm going to continue to tutor, I want you to do your homework and decide, is it worth the hassle of knowing or not knowing? Or do you just want to say, I'm just going to go for it, and if the lessons don't work, I'm just not going to get paid? And so I think that's the real crux of the problem. If tutoring is your full-time job, you do have to have a plan. You're going to have to figure that out in advance. But for this particular person, I think even in my response to the question of I'm going to go to Ireland and tutor while I visit my daughter, just use her computer while you're there. And then there isn't going to be a problem because she's already set up on everything that you need. So do your homework, do your research. I hope that this was helpful. International travel and tutoring could be tricky, but it doesn't have to be if you're ready to go. All right, make it a great day. And as usual, keep the learning going.